Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing this streak of uploads daily, one a day, and we're back doing another 2021 team preview. Today we're doing a team that many people are excited for after 3 quite disappointing seasons, 2 very poor performing ones, and 1 middle of the pack season. Today we'll be talking about the Dallas Fuel. Going into this year, these guys are the best they've ever looked, with, on paper, a great roster, proven players uniting to form the best Element Mystic roster money could buy. These guys obviously have some big pockets at Dallas Fuel. They've spent big on their 4th season now, and it's very exciting to see this roster for 2021. So, let's get on to the roster. Let's start with the DPS line. First of all, let's kick things off with Doha, as he is the only person that will be returning from last year's team. Doha, along with Decay, was one of the standout players on this team, carrying many fights after Decay had left. This guy is a great Sombra. He also played a lot of Mei last season, which he looked very impressive on. 2 heroes, which we don't see either Xe or Sparkle play too well. So that's what Doha could be here for. Speaking of Sparkle, let's talk about him. This guy is an insane Genji. He's known for his Genji play, and that's for a reason. His Genji is miles above the pack, and also, his Doomfist is phenomenal. His Doomfist is definitely in the conversation for best in the league. However, this guy's not extremely flexible, meaning he'll be helped a lot by having a 3-man DPS line, meaning he won't always have to be playing. This guy's more of a specialist than a flexible player, whereas Doha, I'd say, is quite the opposite. Doha and Sparkle are going to be a great 2 people to have on this team, as they'll be able to fill each other's gaps very nicely. Sparkle can specialise on some of the heroes that he feels more confident on, and Doha can do the rest. Next on to the great ranged hit scan player Xe. Xe stood out on Paris Eternal last year from the very start. He took a bit of a break in the middle as he had some neck injuries, but he's back now in full force. He stood out on McCree and Widowmaker last year, which does leave some question marks about his Tracer. In the Nexus Cup, we saw Xe play Tracer, but I also think we saw Sparkle play Tracer at some point. I'm not sure who the full-time Tracer player will be in this roster. I think it really will depend on the meta. If it's a Genji Tracer meta, then possibly Xe will be on the Tracer, whereas if it's Ashe Tracer, I think we could see Sparkle playing the Tracer. So, now onto the tank line. This is, without a doubt, one of the best tank lines in the league on paper going into next season. First of all, you have the extremely well-rounded off-tank player, who is elite on every off-tank in the game, Hanbin. This guy is no problem at all for this roster. No matter what he plays, he will perform. Hanbin is going to be the core for this team to build around. Whereas other players might be quite flashy, Hanbin will always be a top-tier player with no problems, no issues. He'll just get on with it and get his team the best results. Then we've got the main tank from Shanghai Dragons, Fearless. Fearless stood out last season on the Shanghai Dragons after a great turnaround from his 0-40 season with the Shanghai Dragons in Season 1. He made a huge turnaround, especially on his Winston. His Winston was undoubtedly one of the best in the league. Also, his Reinhardt was very good. His Winston and Reinhardt are definitely his highlights. But are we sure he can really play Orisa at as high of a level? What about Wrecking Ball? There are still some question marks. He did play a little Orisa last season, but that's mostly what Stand 1 was there for. But we did see Fearless find success on him as well. So Wrecking Ball really is the biggest question mark for Fearless. Now for the support line. We'll start off with the flex supports. We've got Repel. Last season, he had a difficult year. He played on the Houston Outlaws and really didn't shine too well, splitting playtime with Raucus until Raucus buggered off to Valorant. However, we saw Repel in the Nexus tournament, and he played most of it. We only saw Fielder come in, really, on the Moira. This was interesting to me, as we'll transition on to Fielder now, and I think Fielder had a way more successful season last year. While playing on high ping, we could still see Fielder pop off and carry the Paris Eternal at many points, which we just didn't really see from Repel on the Houston Outlaws. This could be because the Houston Outlaws was our worst team overall, but I still think Fielder had a great season last year and deserves to be on something else other than being locked in Moira jail. This guy is going to be great to see when he's on low ping, and I think if they play him and give him the scrim time, he'll be absolutely unstoppable. I think it's really important, as I've mentioned already in other videos, for teams to have 2 flex supports this year, or at least a really flexible main support and a flex support, as double flex support metas are just extremely common, and that will be very pivotal for teams. Speaking of main support, we've got Jexay. Jexay did alright last year. He was on the Houston Outlaws as well, meaning he'll have some good synergy with Repel. Hopefully we see this when they play together, but also I hope the fact that these guys played together last year doesn't hinder Fielder in getting starting playtime. Jexay has a great Lucio, but everything else is quite mediocre. This team looks like they'll finally be a consistent, high-level team. There are a couple of concerns at the main tank position, inflexibility, and also if there's a Tracer meta. Plus, we always have that worry of Dallas Fuel having some management issues. But I think if you're a Dallas fan, you should be ecstatic going into this season. Don't get your hopes too high, as these guys are going up against some great competition. The most competition we've seen in the Overwatch League ever, without a doubt. But you can definitely feel confident that even if these guys aren't winning every single game they play, they'll at least be performing very well. Thanks for watching the whole video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure if you did, you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.